and this number is absolutely popping off right now, and I'm very happy I do track it because it is so powerful. All right, what's good, everybody? We are getting right into this video because I've tried to record it a few times now, and I get too rambling. It's too long, so we're gonna dive right into it, and this video is gonna be uncut. But what I highly recommend for you is grab a piece of pen and paper, and I'm not saying you need to write down everything we're gonna talk about, but write down anything that is a light bulb moment for you. Anything you're like, oh, well, actually that is interesting. I'm gonna try to start tracking that number, or I'm gonna start thinking that way about my sourcing, or I'm gonna start planning like this. So this past May was an absolute game changer for us. This May blew out every single other May we've had in the past and was astronomically, not astronomically, but substantially higher in revenue compared to April, the month prior. So first, going into some general notes of what we saw in May. We're then compare it to May of 2025, then May of 2026, or excuse me, April of 2026, so the month prior. And then we are going to just go over the philosophy and the way I've been thinking and how that is just manifesting itself in our numbers. And we're seeing progress when a month we typically are seeing decline. So first off, this was the best month we've had in May, of any May. And this was the best month we've had so far this year, which is super weird because typically in January, it's a pretty slow, low income month because it's post holidays, but then February is a little bit higher, then March is a little bit higher, or pretty higher, like March is usually the peak every single time, and then April comes down a bit, and then May comes down a bit. So it's pretty much like this like flat pyramid shape. But this, so far in 2026, it's gone like zigzag from January to February to March to April, and then May shot up like a rocket. May was huge. So the number one metric, getting right into it, the number one metric that we had in May that was way above average was the amount of $100 plus transactions we had. We had 51 $100 plus transactions, which our average for January, February, March, and April each month was 30. So that was a 70% increase, which is huge and only proves the mentality of how I've been thinking about my business, even more so of that we're doing the right things, that we are on the right trajectory. Getting into the next thing I want to go over, the top 4 categories based off of item, based off of the type of item in our store is shirts, no brainer, right? Like it's actually getting warm. People are taking off their layers. They're just wearing t-shirts. Next is button-ups, which obviously makes sense too, right? You can still layer and have something to kind of keep you warm. Like I like wearing long sleeve button-ups when it's warm out too. The next is shorts, self-explanatory. And then lastly is jackets. We actually sold more jackets in May than we did in April, which is weird, which is absolutely crazy. And jackets are increasing in the price that we're putting them at because we're just getting that much more tickets with our jackets. We're not just carrying any jacket, like we're carrying nice Carhartt jackets, we're carrying leather jackets, we're carrying denim jackets, we're carrying canvas and chore jackets, and those move regularly, even in the hot days. So it's like we're not downsizing our jacket rack really. It's like we have, I think, an 8-foot rack of jackets right now, anywhere from like 5 to 10 per size on that rack. Some of the smalls we struggle to keep stocked, and we don't have that many 2XL jackets, so it's mostly like medium, large, extra large, but they move regularly, and we don't have that rack packed. We keep it breathable because they're jackets, so they're bigger, and we move 1 or 2 pieces on there a day right now. So that's really good to hear. Now, the one other metric of this one other metric of this year that I want to point out before we start diving into comparisons of other months is that we have had 0 sales so far this year, where last year we had 7 sales. So I think at this point in the year, we would have had like 2 or 3 sales. At this point, we've had 0. And we'll talk about that more so when we get to the end and kind of talk about philosophy and planning, all that kind of stuff. But the last thing I want to point out as well, as a general note, is that we had 5 days, or we're now open 5 days a week. Before, we were only open 4 days a week until August of last year. That's when we started open 5 days a week. We were still working 5 days, but like one of those 5 days we just spent like prepping the store, doing content, planning stuff, all that kind of stuff. But now we just do that at the store, especially because Wednesdays and Thursdays are the slower days. But yeah, those are all the things that I wanted to share before we dive into like some more specific percentages to kind of show like stuff changing. In regards to May of 2025 compared to May of 2026, we had a 13% increase in total revenue, gross revenue before expenses, all that kind of stuff. We had 13% more transactions in May of 2026 compared to 2025. We had 5% higher average item price, which adds up, right? And then repeat customers dropped down actually from 24% to 18%. So that's a 25% decrease in the amount of repeat customers we had, which to me, I always keep a track on my repeat customers. I'm very mindful of looking at it like on a weekly basis, especially a monthly basis, and especially a quarterly basis. But for us, it's like so many people come and go because we are a college town. Also, mostly because of the fact that we're trying so hard to get new people in the door. We have people on a regular basis coming in and saying they've been following the store for like 6 months, a year. They've been hearing about it for so long from all their friends that come and see us, and they finally came in to come shop with us. So it makes sense that like we're still getting so many new people that regularly trickle in, which is great. Word of mouth spreading, people are hearing about us, our advertisement's working. But yeah, like compared to this same time last year, 30% increase in revenue, 30% increase in transactions, 5% increase in item price, like all of these substantial numbers are going up. And that's why I want you to think about it. Like if you were to go and increase your revenue from last month, 13%, go to your phone right now and take that number, or go to a calculator, take your total revenue you made last month, multiply it by 1.13 and see that number and see how much of a difference that can be, right? If you don't make a whole lot of money, it might not look like a whole lot, but if you make $10,000, right? That's what, $1,300 right there. So 13% increases from year to year. So May of last year to May of this year is great. Like I'm super pumped for that. Now, comparing April of 2026 to May of 2026, so just the month prior to kind of see that transition, which was, like I was saying before, that much bigger spike that we had from April to May, we had a 23% increase in gross revenue, which is crazy because we typically expect a decrease going from April to May. But we had a 23% increase, which is wild, absolutely wild. We had a 20% increase in the amount of items we sold. We had a 16% increase in the amount of transactions we had. We had a 3.4% increase in the average item price. And then we had a 6% increase in the average transaction value. So literally all of our metrics went up. It wasn't like, oh, okay, our average item price went down because we sold a bunch of lower end stuff. It wasn't that our average transaction value went up a lot, but the amount of items we sold went down or something like that. Like it's very common to have, some numbers go up and some numbers go down, but literally every single broad metric went up. It was crazy. I think it only proves the philosophy of how we're approaching our business is working, which we're going to cover in just a second. But one other metric I wanted to talk about from April of 2026 compared to May of 2026 compared to April 2026, we sold 56% more jackets in May than in April. 56%. In a month that was getting hotter, where people are more eager to want to shed their winter stuff, we're selling more jackets. And it's only working because we're selling the chore jackets, we're selling the denim jackets, we're selling the leather jackets, we're selling the canvas jackets. We're selling timeless jackets, selling jackets that hold their value, that are durable, that are good quality, and are way cheaper than retail, and also even cheaper than what you would find them for resale online. We see it all the time. People walk into our store, they take the item, they grab their phone, and they go like they're doing this, and they're looking up comps on the items we have in our store. And to be honest, I used to feel some type of way about it. I still kind of do, low key, but I'm like, go ahead. And then I know we have your sale because you're gonna look it up. You're not gonna find a cheaper price anywhere, so you're gonna buy it from us. So now, hi. Give me like 5 minutes. So, gotta get back to daddy duty. So now, what the philosophy and the mentality and the things we've been doing with our store and why it's proving that it's working for us, which I'm going to try not to get too rambly because I don't want to be like the other videos. Probably the main thing is that we are hunkering our branding and our messaging down on quality. Quality, quality, quality. That doesn't mean it's a vintage shirt that's not stained. That doesn't mean it's like, oh, Janko jeans that aren't stained. It doesn't mean like like I feel like so many people think quality is just like it's just like saying the word vintage. Like, what does vintage even mean anymore, right? What does quality even mean anymore, right? Does it mean like craftsmanship? Does it mean thick materials? Does it mean organic materials? Like, quality is in like, this item is going to last. Why do people pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for 1890s Levi's? Why do people pay $50,000 for World War II leather bomber jackets? Like, why are people paying those crazy prices? Because those items are worth it. They last. They are built. They are constructed with a thought behind it of it being a good silhouette, with it fitting nicely, with it only getting better with age, like most true vintage stuff does. So that is something we really focus on. It's like, we don't care. We will carry some Harley stuff because it's trendy. We will carry some Y2K jeans because they're trendy. Like, they move for us, right? So they come in, we will take them and sell them, but that's like a tiny, tiny fraction of our store. Most of it is good built stuff that like someone could literally wear for the next 10, 20 years. That is the whole objective. Another key thing is, like, since we've moved into this location that we've been in for 2 years now, we've been in business for 3.5 years. So we've been in this location now for 2 years, and we have only continually decreased the amount of rack space we have on the floor. We had a 2-tier rack, turned it into a 1-tier. We had 3 center racks on the floor. Now we have 2, and they're smaller than each of those 3 ones were. We like are about to even downsize and reorganize our store even more. And it's just because we want to make it feel like it is so curated. It's not a crazy wild library of clothes. If that worked for you, great, but that's not how we've been seeing success. We are not jam packing the racks, so it's like people got to break it open. We're keeping everything very, very meticulously spaced out, so everything looks that much more curated and more thought, behind it, to make sure we're not just it's vintage. Okay, put it on the rack, put it in the store. And we're also having the store be more open and breathable and like specific to our audience. Like, it's not just clothes. Come buy clothes. It's come experience our store. Come sit down, enjoy the music. We get compliments on our music all the time. Like, even if it were to get busy in our store, which it doesn't get busy like it used to, if people have room to breathe. Like, you can have your elbows out, and you can be looking at a rack and taking your time and not feel like someone's right on your shoulder or right next to you also looking. And also, why that's a plus is because if you jam pack a rack, someone might take their time looking through it. Okay, let me look at this shirt. Nah, I don't want that one. Oh, let me look at this one. Okay, it's got a hole in it. Can we look at this one? Okay, it's not my size. And they take longer to get through the rack. And if your store does end up getting busy, the longer someone takes in a certain spot, that's wasted time. Someone else could come and enjoy that spot and actually shop with you, and might just like go to the next spot and like, I don't find anything over here. To find it over here, I'm gonna leave. Like, if you have everything, like, think of a showroom, think of high-end designers, think of streetwear drops, think of Supreme. Like, nothing is loaded up. It's like half of it is the vibe and the aesthetic and the style of the people they're trying to speak to. And so less is more in that case. And thank God Gavin shared with me that phrase years ago, because it has only been implanted in our brains ever since, and it is only showing itself more and more. But we have less racks. We have more seating. We're putting more decor in the store. We are taking in less items. Just because there's money to be made, if it doesn't speak to him or I, like, we don't like this isn't cool, or this isn't timeless, it's like a little too trendy, or it's a little too loud and flashy to where someone might wear it once or twice, but it's not going to be like a daily driver, right? Like, I want someone to buy a jacket and they go like, oh my God, I want to wear this jacket every time I need a jacket. Or all the time I see people when I'm at the coffee shop and they're like, hey, I bought these jeans from you and I love them. I wear them like every other day. And I'm like, that's the case for me. Like, I have like 10 pairs of jeans. I love the same 2. And like, I have to like force myself to wear other jeans because I have these favorite 2 that I love the way they fit. I love the feel of them. And that's what I want other people to experience. I want other people to understand the value of what we provide for them. And like, people will pay up for the curation. If you, like, I think a lot of people don't value themselves as curators. They think, okay, cool, I got this shirt for $1 at the bins, or $5 at the thrift, or $3 at a garage sale, and it goes for $30 online. Okay, cool, put it in my store at $25. But like, it doesn't mean it's cool. It doesn't mean it's timeless. It might speak to one person, but it doesn't speak to you. Only carry stuff that speaks to you. And if you think everything speaks to you just because it's vintage, you are not gonna be around in 2027. That's my prediction. my prediction for 2027 is that a lot of vintage stores and vintage resellers can get phased out and go away. But yeah, that's where I'm gonna end this video. I was thinking about it, and I will only make another video like this for June, and I will be even more like kind of detailed. I might even get a whiteboard, or I'll make it even a better video if this video gets to 100 likes by the time we get to the end of June. I'll make a video for June's numbers and make it an even better video. But like, I'm giving out so much free game essentially that I feel like it doesn't benefit my store to make this kind of video, right? It specifically benefits resellers, other clothing stores, people that sell online, and people that sell at markets. Like, I'm giving out free game for nothing. I don't make money on YouTube. I haven't collected any of the ad revenue that's gone on YouTube. Like, I literally just do it just because I love, one, making content, but I got into this business because of sustainability, because I care about the environment, because I want people I want us to create less waste. I want people to stop over consuming and buy that jacket that lasts you for the rest of your life. Or you wear it for 2, 3, 4 years, you don't like it anymore, it doesn't fit you anymore, your style changes, you can then sell it to the next person and it lives on. We're not just like treating clothes like it's just like something fun to do, like this dopamine hit, and then just roll on to the next thing and keep the cycle going. Like, spend less and get more. So again, if you want another video like this for June, we need to hit 100 likes by the end of June. Otherwise, I'm done giving free game, and I'll just keep all my interesting numbers and data to myself. But yeah, if you got this far, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. More behind the scenes videos coming up. We just did that pop up in Horseheads. We're gonna do another one very, very soon actually. So we've been curating for that. We've been getting some good stuff in the store. June's gonna be interesting because students are gone, so like it's a whole new crowd of people. I've been changing my ad spends. We got a market coming up, lots happening. So see you guys soon.